you may be, I'm your humble host. Rotate the device back, it says. Oh, well. Wherever you may be, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. I am your host for this evening, Mr. David Noel, also known as Hawkeye Feathers. Two Feathers. I can't speak. Yeah, that's because it changes. And in all my 73 and a half years, of all the things that I've looked at, and of all of the things that I have, I want to say, been a party to, business, pleasure things, adventures, whatever. The one thing that we can count on is change. Look around, close your eyes, open your eyes, things have changed. You know, I went fishing the other day and the water was up, and by the time I could get to the house, it was all I could do to get back, you know, load back into the truck and head to the house. Me and Duggar, we know there's changes, period. Some days the water is low, some days the water is high. Some days you can catch a fish, and other days you can't get a bite. So we're doomed for changes. Oh, and what about space? I haven't talked about Earth wobble in a while, and let me tell you, she's still a wobbling, up and down and rolling side to side. A couple of days ago, looked outside at night and looked out of my favorite southern Scorpio constellation, and lo and behold, it was way up high in the sky. I was like, look at that sucker. And then a couple of days later, I couldn't find it. It was in the trees. And I'm like, you know what? Goodness gracious, gracious me, the earth is still rolling because constellations don't move, we do. And so, same thing with the moon. The moon will be high overhead, and sideways. Tell me if I'm sideways. Am I sideways now? So, but the earth is changing, the sun is changing, the solar system is changing, aliens are changing, politics are changing, and for any of you, it's correct now. Oh, good. I've been doing it sideways for so long. Well, that sounds like me. So there are so many folks that are freaked out about changes. It's like, oh my God, something has changed. Well, yeah, you know. And then there are some folks who expect change to happen quickly. Like, okay, um, this thing we're going to have, that we're going to solve the homeless problem. Boom. Well, you can't solve the homeless problem until you can help fix the drug addiction problem, because the folks who are on the street don't care. Now, there are homeless people who really, with a family and a kid or something, and they really do need help. But them folks out in LA and places like that are living on the street, they're doomed to their addiction. That's a sad thing to say, but it is. But I was addicted. I was a drunk. I know what it is to be doomed to your addiction. But the other side of that coin is that You can also come out of that doomed addiction if you choose to, but you have to choose to. So there are people who are making choices now that it's like, oh my God, I'm making this choice. We're doomed for we're doomed. Why is everybody want to be doomed? Why is everybody looking for the end of the world? Why does everybody want the the apocalypse to come? Why does everybody want everything to fail? What the hell's wrong with these people? It's like, well, are you American? Well, I don't know. Are you a patriot? Well, I am. But these other people say, well, I'm an American, but I'm not getting enough help from the government, and my SNAP program ran out, and I can't buy Pepsi Colas anymore like I used to could, and I can't buy ding dongs at the store, and oh my God, they're doomed. This woman who weighs twice as much as me, and I'm 181. Is complaining because her SNAP program has been shut down because she can't buy tater chips no more. I'm so sorry, honey. Who is that I see over here on the side? John, they're getting to, wait, they're going to bring on failure, thinking about that and wishing for that. Yes. They're predicting their future outcome, which is failure. I would agree with that. Absolutely. And it's like back in the day, it's like, stay positive, my friends. Oh no. And of course, I just, went and voted the other day on Tuesday. And there was a short line, but, first thing you do is hand over your driver's license. They scan it and go, hi, Mr. No. Are you voting Democrat or Republican today? And I tell them, or independent. And they give me my little card, and I go to the voting machine. But I go down the list and check what I want. It prints it out. I go over the printed list, and then it goes into the machine. And I talk with the guy, and he goes, no, when everybody's done this evening, I will gather this machine and take it to Moultrie, because my precinct is out here in the country, Hamilton, and he will take it to Moultrie and give it to the rest of the folks for voting, and they will decipher them and whatever they do with them. Okay. So my guy came in second for governor. Okay, they're going to have a runoff. Everything else that I voted for pretty much came, was what I had voted for. So is it just me, or is there a bunch of millions of other people in the state of Georgia who voted like me, as the outcome shows? So because of the voting, there are going to be changes, my friends. The people who are going to be governing us are going to be thinking in a different way. If they're MAGA or not, Democrat or far left or whatever it is that they are, we're going to see that when the elections come in November, right? Who we're going to actually vote for is for the, for the big deal, right? Who is going to be governor, not just the preliminaries. So, but with that said, so many changes that are happening, and the changes that are happening are driving people nuts to the point where they think we're doomed. And I thought when George Bush Sr. was, yes, I'm that old, but when George Bush Sr. Was elected, I thought, oh my God, because what he said in one of his speeches that a lot of people have seen is, welcome to the new world order. And we all froze and went, what did he say? And so here we are now, made it through George Bush Sr., made it through the Clintons, which was a catastrophe, but most folks don't remember that. Made it through George Bush Jr., which I just cringed. I did not vote for him, but it may be that it was a good thing he won instead of Al Gore. Oh, goodness gracious. There's no telling where the Democratic Party would have been if that had happened. But so we went through 8 years of George Jr. and then Mr. Obama, who really screwed us up, and then Trump for the first time, and then back again. But and here we are with Trump again. And so it's like he's trying to clean up a bunch of messes. Now, I don't agree with everything he does, but today he did something good. There were, during the Biden years, they had made some determinations through the EPA that all grocery stores, and anybody that had an air conditioner or some kind of refrigeration unit had to be changed, and that the new system that somebody dreamed up didn't actually work. And so he rescinded all of that and gave back listen, y'all don't have to do this now. And the CEO of Kroger was there and said, by us not having to do this, we can save our customers money. What? Because we don't have to update to this new refrigerant system. We can save our customers money. Oh my God, bringing the price of food down by rescinding stupid EPA regulations on refrigeration units in grocery stores, for crying out. But air conditioners, housing air conditioners, and so forth. So that was a good thing. It was, whoever made that rule during Biden era was stupid. But that's a good thing. So is everything that Trump does is bad? Oh my God, he's going to kill us all. Actually, what he signed today and did to rescind those orders through the EPA is going eventually will help save customers money, because these corporations don't have to invest in new refrigeration units. Now, I know this is boring, but it's important, because how do you bring down the price of food is you start attacking those things that have made the price of food go up. So are we doomed? Yes, we're doomed for change, my friends. And the best thing to do is you might as well just get used to it, because at 73 and a half years old, I'm here to tell you, change is every day. My blood pressure was so low yesterday, I was about to fall out and they were going to send me to the hospital again. And since I've talked to you all, I've had another heart attack. And so it's like fighting with the new medicines, dealing with extreme amounts of back pain and craziness from the world. But, it's like, I don't know whether or not I'm going to wake up tomorrow or not, whether or not my blood pressure is going to be up and I need to go to the hospital, or whether or not my blood pressure is so low I need to go to the hospital. I don't know. But every single day is a change. I can go from morning to evening. Earlier today, there's no way I was going to do a live stream. I was so glad that that Robert had to cancel tonight. But here I am feeling guilty, and it's like, and this spirits have been on my butt to do this, because there are so many people who are worried about change. And the first thing, because of all of the societal kind of mumbo jumbo that they put in everybody's head, that if something doesn't go your way, you're doomed. We're doomed if it doesn't go our way. We're doomed because of the war in Iran. We're doomed because, Canada wants to, good morning, how are you? There are folks who are like, oh my God, Canada wants to become the 51st state. Oh my God, how could we allow that to happen? Because they have a ton of oil. And they want to become part of the United States. So should we allow Canada to become the 51st state? I say yes. Sign them up, And they've already, the change with Canadians, that they've already decided that they want to be a 51st state. Now, we got a bunch of Mexicans and other type folks in the United States, not picking on the Mexicans, okay? But that, would we make Mexico the 51st state? And the answer, probably not, right? But the Canadians who speak our language and who have something to offer and who want to become United States citizens, oh my God, that's a change we need. Are we doomed because the Canadians wish to become part of the United States? I say, hallelujah, my friends, come on down. We'll give you a free trip to Florida. You can see an alligator live. Come down here. I was on the river the other day and I didn't see an alligator. So, but anyway, so, but does change mean that we're doomed? Who is that? I can't see. I got to find my glasses. Is that Scotty Boy? I didn't see. Somebody say something. So so the chat will come back up. But so anyway, my dear friends, and for anybody that might watch this for a short period of time, oh, hey, Scotty Boy and Sheila. Oh, hey, Miss Sheila, how are you? And so, but all of this craziness is just like, and it's, we're doomed. Oh my God, we're doomed. You listen to people are putting in their their titles. We're doomed for this. Oh my God, this new thing is going to doom us all for the future, and we're all going to be doomed for this. And oh, the dollar bill is dying, and we're all doomed. Me too, sweetie. And I'm not having my my hip up. You are still having your hips done, aren't you? But so, and something that I want to bring up, and we're all doomed, and I'm going to do a separate video, but I went to the Edwards Cancer Center in Moultrie Tuesday and had a very nice 45-minute, roughly, I'm trying to look for the, wait a minute. We just missed a 20. Oh man, we probably did. But there's something that's new to me, and it's called low dose radiation therapy for osteoarthritis. Now, what the oncology services do with the radiation, and because of their machines, is that they're able to pinpoint 31 after. Okay, well, I'm claiming a 20 because I missed the 20 and I was waiting on it. No, I went to it's Leanne is her name, and I still can't think of the word that I want. But anyway, so what this does is that it low dose radiation, and for osteoarthritis, exactly what it sounds like, but it takes radiation like they use it for cancer patients, but instead of using a higher dose with cancer patients, they use a medium dose between an X-ray and a cancer dose, as Leanne described to me. And she said out of 50 patients that they have treated in Moultrie, our little backwards little town, 47 people have had very good luck with no pain or very little pain after they've done the treatment. I don't know if it's backwards or not. Low dose radiation therapy. Now, next week I go in for a CT scan. Now, see, these are changes. Now, why am I bringing this low dose radiation therapy up now about being doomed? Because, my friends, I thought I was going to be doomed for the rest of my life. I'm hoping for in the 80s that I was going to have to live with this back pain and have to live like this forever. And now, maybe not. Now, I asked her, I said, is this an experimental treatment? No. In fact, it's been going on in Europe for like 20 years, and they've had tremendous success with treating people with osteoarthritis and severe back. It's not just back pain, but spine pain is what people complain with mostly. And if somebody's got a pain in the leg, a lot of times it might be because of the back. And what I intend to do is keep you updated. So next week I go in for a CT scan. It is awesome. I can't believe it. It's like a light at the end of the tunnel. No joke. You mean they really do have something, without injections or any of this other kind of stuff, right? And there's no residual effects. There's no side effects to what they do. And so I go in for I'm going to give you a basic explanation. I go in for a CT scan, and they hold my legs together. And that's so that when they go put me on the machine will know where 0 is. In other words, it'll know where, okay, the last time I looked at him, his position was like this. So it can go back to that same position. And the computer inside the machine that will do the X-ray calibrates. There's 256 different variables that have to be done, and the computer and the program and the programmer plus Leanne will go over my situation, will go over the CT scans and be able to pinpoint spots and go, okay, we want to hit this area with radiation. And then the computer will figure out where it's not supposed to shoot radiation. So if it wants to, for example, on my hand, if I got a knuckle that's bad, then it'll only shoot this knuckle, but it'll mask the rest of the hand. So the rest of the hand won't get any radiation to it. It's really cool. I was severely involved with what she was discussing. But so that it takes 10 days after the CT scan next week, and then they will schedule me for 2 times a week until I have six treatments. So that'll be 3 weeks. So 2 times for 3 weeks. And she said, if it doesn't work, you can come back. It's not like one treatment and they throw up their hands and go, well, that's it. Nope. I can go back if the treatment isn't successful enough for me and my pain management. Hallelujah, my friends. I'm going to be doing more about this with it in the title. Well, I know a lot of you have issues with back pains and back issues and old age with arthritis and things. This stuff is like nobody's talking about it. Why aren't these people talking about with all the people that I know with back pain? I called my sister. I said, sis, you got to get on this because she's like debilitated. She had to quit her little part-time job because she couldn't mop a floor, you know, and she's like, Dave, it's all I can do to get back up and down her hall. And it's a small hall on a small trailer. It ain't far. So, and poor dear is younger than me, but so for any of those folks who are out there that you might know, it's called low dose radiation therapy. That's what's got your hip. Yes, ma'am, I know. Both of my hips hurt and they can't figure out why, but they assume it's because of my back. But I can't lay on my side without my hip hurting. I don't know if it's the same for you, Miss Sheila, but I know that what I got hurts like a mother. It's like wakes me up at night. I'm tossing and turning, you know. It sucks. So, but you know, so for pain management, they've got some very interesting things out there that are non-invasive, don't require any kind of injections or anything, and it's low dose radiation therapy. It's kind of the reason why I'm still up too, darling. Cheers. It's my 20 late. Wait, is it 20 till? I'll take it. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm about tired of watching the end of the world. Everybody's talking about the end of the world, how it's all going to come crashing down. Now, I gotta say, there are some aliens out yonder that are floating around in space that are not looking for our good intentions are not what's in their mind. Okay, let's just say that right out. And they just, you know, they come down here and they mix in with this, and but they don't like us. Some of these folks, they just don't like us, and so they want to doom us. But why are human beings trying to doom each other? Oh my God, this is the apocalypse. Oh my God, this is the end of everything. Oh my God, you know, it's Jim Crow 2.0. Oh, that one right there really irks me because I remember the 60s and I remember, you know, the tension and the riots down in Tampa, which weren't near as severe as other places, but you know, there were neighborhoods the police would not go in. There's neighborhoods in Tampa, down near Ybor City, they still won't go in. But back then there was tension, there was fires, there were people, and the rest of us just tried our best just to get along. You know, we made it through the 60s, you know, and we made it through the early 70s, you know, when things were trying to calm down. But after all this doom, why? Why would people want to continue expecting doom? Well, I don't know. We're not going to make it. Well, you know, that climate change stuff that was going to doom us all to an early grave, that didn't work out too good, did it? And all this other rigmarole, frack-a-marack, um, why should we continue to I say we, because y'all ain't probably doing it. But other folks out there, other YouTube folks, and I know I only have like 900 of y'all as subscribers, and I love every single one of you. And I do pray for you, even when I'm not around. But this idea that they have to perpetuate Armageddon. The only way out of this is for everything to die. The only way to do this is to reset. Well, I would agree with that now, because Trump's working on a deal and y'all ain't paying attention to where the reset's going to happen. And we're going to go back to a real dollar bill and not a Federal Reserve note. Now, I've talked about this before months ago, but the Prometheus group, they've been hot on the trail, but also just in keeping an eye on what's going on in the Fed chair. He's great. But that what Trump has been is trying to do, and they're finagling with going to England and meeting with Charles and meeting with all these other people, is because Trump is working on getting us back to it's going to be oil based, but back to our own original dollar bill, like what Kennedy did when I was a kid. I still got a silver certificate somewhere. But the idea that we're going to get rid of the Federal Reserve and all this borrowing money is going to go out the door. And they're working on it real close. And so what's up with China? He went to China to tell China, listen, we're getting away from the Fed Reserve note, but we're going to go to a real dollar bill. So it'll be actually worth more than the Federal Reserve note. But we're all doomed. The reset. The money's going to change. The digital dollar. Your dollars are digital now, sweetie. When you go to get money out of the bank, that money is digital until it comes out as dollar bills. It's digital. It's just a bunch of fractions inside a computer somewhere. How much money do I have in the bank? Oh, about $150 right now. So, but that $150 isn't in cash. It's $150 in little digital coin, digital signatures. Oh, we're all doomed. The economy's going to collapse. Has it collapsed yet? How many people, there are people in bigger cities who are standing on the side of the road looking for meals, and no doubt. But the rest of the country, we're pretty much fed. Not necessarily well fed, but we're fed. So are we all doomed to starve? No. Will some of us? Possibly. In the bigger cities and in New York, I wouldn't be in New York City if you paid me. Especially with Ramdami, whatever his name is. That fool is a fool. He's a moron. Thank God we don't have more people like him running the country in any way, shape, or form. We need to try to keep those kind of folks out of politics. But New York City's doomed. I kind of like to you all voted for that sucker. Y'all are doomed. Okay. But I don't want to talk about doom and destruction. I'm thinking about, the AIs, we're all doomed because of AI. Well, stop it. AI has to be programmed. Remember, and there are folks who are talking about AI is wrong more times than not, especially like this lawyer lady brought up briefs to the Supreme Court. And the judge was like, do you know that 3 of these accounts don't even exist? He said, you used AI to do your briefs, didn't you? And she went, let me check my notes. And so there were several of the sites legal sites that she had made that were made up by AI. So, there are a lot of facial recognitions. Go ahead, AI, take my picture. Go ahead. Um, and people are making memes and stuff and whatever. It's like, okay, in that we're going to have trouble. We're doomed because it's going to be hard to pick out if the person actually talking to you is actually real, or as we used to say in the old days, Memorex. Oh, we're doomed to that. AI is going to take over and it's going to kill us all. Them robots. And I say a good chop to the head will take a robot out every time. Get them them sling blades going, y'all. But is I think that people, before that happens, robots taking over, I think people will revolt and start chopping robots' heads. Now, we've already got the Roombas and so all these other things. And folks in China, they got a whole different idea of robots now. Sex bots and all this other kind of stuff. I'm too old for one of those, but in a younger year, I might have. How much do they cost? Does she talk or can I tape her mouth shut? Oh, my goodness gracious. Only thinking about my last wife. Tape her mouth shut. But anyway, so are we doomed? Are we really doomed? There are so many more job opportunities now than there were 25 years ago. I lost my engineering job along with a lot of other people. Those jobs are coming back next year. They are looking for engineers. They are begging people to come out of retirement because the engineers that they have taught today don't have a clue. A lot of this stuff, us old engineers, I got a couple of friends of mine. One of them is Mr. Tommy. He worked down at the Mag Lab in Tallahassee, Florida. Yes, the Mag Lab in Tallahassee. And he's like, when he left and he retired, they're like, they don't have anybody that could do what Tommy used to do. They could give him a drawing and he would look at it and go, oh, you want me to make this? And they'd go, yeah. And so he'd go over to, quote, a milling machine and dial and wheel and deal and do and drill and push and make the part. And these engineers now, fresh out of school, don't know how to make a part. Especially if they don't have well, that's not the same machine that I studied on. So you're supposed to be a machinist. You're supposed to be an engineer. You're supposed to be able to know how to drill a hole. Well, maybe not. I tell the story of the guy that I trained when I was at TR Prestolite. He got a job making over $100,000 a year with benefits. And he calls me on the phone. He goes, Mr. Dave, I don't know what size tap to use. I don't know what size drill to use to tap a hole in this. And he was flustered. And I said, don't you have a machinist handbook? What's that? 4 years at Georgia Tech, Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech, the engineering school, top marks in his grade, and couldn't drill a hole and tap it for a 1/4 20 bolt. Smart, too smart, but not practical smart. So what has not happened, practical smarts has not been taught. And the manufacturing base is finding out that these new engineers aren't near as smart as us old buggers, and they want us back. If I was a little younger, I'd be applying, but I'm not. So But are we doomed because the engineers don't know enough? No, because there's enough of us old farts some of us are going to come out of retirement. Some of us are going to just feel plumb sad because manufacturing, they can't find decent help. No wonder they want to get engineers from India. They got smart engineers. Well, we can't be importing them. Why? We don't have enough engineers of our own. We don't have enough engineers. I'm an engineer. I'm a retired engineer. We don't have enough. Why are they getting them in from other countries? Because we don't have enough. So people should quit bitching at Donald Trump. Oh my God, he's rigging it. All these people from India. Because they're smart. Not like some of these DEI, LBG people from these schools, because they have not been taught properly. Because the teachers weren't taught properly. So there's one generation out. My generation, we learned and we taught. And then the next generation weren't taught hands-on because they were said, oh, well, we'll just use the computer to do this. When sometimes when the computer goes down, you need to go out there with your hands and go make something. It's for thousands of years we've been doing this, right? How do you think they built, the Greeks did what they did and the Romans did what they did? Because they had engineers, they had smart people who knew how to do this and that and quadrangle and lift big, giant. I still don't know how they picked up all them giant rocks. But to the point, these new engineers out of school don't know their way around a machine shop at all. They don't know their way around manufacturing because they weren't taught hands-on. They were taught book learning and a computer. And that's going to kick them in the butt. And can AI take their jobs? Possibly. Possibly. But when it comes time for a machine that breaks down out on the floor, the manufacturing floor, AI is not going to be able to walk out there and fix it. It's going to take a human being. But it's going to take a human being that has been taught practical stuff. So I don't think we're doomed. I do think we're doomed for a lull in the manufacturing where it's like, what happened to all the engineers? Where's all the machinists? Where'd all the electricians go? What about the plumbers? We need all of them kind of folks. So there is a big push. And I've been a Votech guy for a long time because I graduated from Votech in Thomasville. And I talked with a lovely X-ray technician yesterday who's a student and who liked the program at Moultrie and at Colquitt County Hospital where I was at yesterday. And so we have good teachers down here. We've got good programs for people to go in. She drives from Tifton, which is about 35 miles away, to go to school down in Moultrie. So it's worth her to drive that distance because her area tech doesn't have a program, and the program at Moultrie is such a fine program. So, but anyway, and they're serious. These students are serious. So we need to get a new set of students who are serious about what they're working on. Because some of these other engineers and people out of school, out of college, they got a degree, but they don't know what to do. They really don't. And unless somebody shows them what to do, they're still not going to know what to do. So the amount of time it's going to take for that weird generation in between that's in their 25s to 40 almost, that age group in there, they're going to have to do some learning. If they want to keep their jobs and not having somebody from India or some other place that has a sure enough engineering degree walk all over them, then they better heads up. Because I met some folks in Canada when I went up there on a job for years ago, several times to Toronto. And guess who was one of the main engineers? He was from India. And another guy was from Pakistan. And they were working with a bunch of Russian women in the plant in Canada. So they're coming over and, and they're smart. They know what they're doing. So are we doomed? No. There are ways out of this. And if you're in an area where you might need to get a little extra training or get a little extra, training, education, oh, please do so. If you know somebody that's lollygagging around and they don't know, there are vocational programs that will pay you to go to school because they need folks that bad. So are we doomed? No. It's just going to be, I don't like to use the word reset, because to say it's going to be a reset, to me means that everything's got to stop and you got to trash everything and you got to start over. That's not what's happening. This is a revamping, a reimagining, a investing in manufacturing and jobs for America that is here and coming up. I wished I was a younger man. I do. So these young folks out there who might be wallering and bitching and squalling about not having opportunities, stuff it. And quit talking about being doomed. Oh, and I have a lot of channels that I watch with Black content creators, okay? And they are upset with the Black population who are whining and belly aching about Jim Crow 2.0. So the state of Georgia has had for several years now, because every time I can remember, I had to give them my driver's license to vote. Nowhere is anybody disenfranchised except illegals who might be trying to vote. Nobody down here is disenfranchised. They walk up, here's my driver's license, here's your card, there's your booth, and go vote. Nobody's standing outside with a baseball bat, trying to keep you from voting. They don't remember the Jim Crow days, and these Hakeem Jeffries and folks like that, they are trying to push the fact he thinks that we're doomed, and the Democrats are. Because I used to be a Democrat. A lot of my friends used to be Democrats. We ain't no more. But are we doomed? Only if you decide to be doomed. If you decide that we're doomed, then we're doomed. But if you keep thinking like that, it's gonna come crashing down on your own head. It might not be that we as a collective are doomed, but you might actually bring that doom onto the top of your own pumpkin head. So I would be careful about keeping talking about it's the end of the world. It's the end of everything. Now it is hopefully the end of the Fed and the new beginning of the new American dollar. I'm hoping for that one, buddy. Been hoping for that one for years. The White Hats promised that back before Trump ran the first time. And the White Hat said that they asked Trump to run because they thought he was the only one that could pull this off. So far, it took a second term this far up the road, but he's working on getting rid of the Fed. No more borrowing from private corporation. The Treasury of the United States will be Treasury dollars that are backed by oil and gold and silver and our natural resources. Why do you think Trump's bringing everything home? So we won't have to borrow to the feds. We're going to be rich enough with the oil. What's going on with Iran? Oh, all the tankers are coming to the Gulf of Mexico to get filled up with oil, which is going to do what? Make America rich. So we can get away from the Federal Reserve note, and our American dollar will be backed by petroleum. Not overseas, not someplace else. And if Canada will join us with all the oil that they have, north of Idaho and Montana up there, oh my goodness gracious, and Alaska and Canada and Venezuela, and we got all this oil that's going to be used and conglomerated by the United States and us. So the US dollar then will be a real US dollar. It won't be a Federal Reserve note. And he's working on it real hard. But most folks don't see that. So, I'm going to get off here in an hour because I'm not going to do long stretched out videos anymore unless a bunch of y'all get on here and we yak. But so, are we doomed? No. Are we doomed in the short term? Well, maybe. We don't know what it was like back in the Depression days. Granny talked to me about how they had a little victory garden. They had a little something out there in the garden. We don't have victory gardens anymore. If something runs out at the store, people are going to starve to death. Why? Because they're not thinking. Well, you can go to all these Patriot Supplies and all and buy, MREs and all that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's being prepared. That's cheating. And what I mean by that is there are local herbs and wildflowers and things that are medicinal and are edible and are all these other things that our pioneer, folks used to live off of. And we're doomed to starve only if we choose not to learn how to live. So with that, I'm going to say cheers. Yeah, it's been 53 minutes, 54 minutes. So I'm going to quit sooner than an hour. I love you all. I do. And anybody that might bounce on here, please be safe and please use some common sense, for goodness gracious. And watch out for your fellow man, because you might need your fellow man to come and help you at some point in the future. It might be just to hold something down or to pick something up, but you might need the help of somebody in the future. So don't alienate everybody that you meet, and don't speak doom and gloom so that everybody, like, well, that person's weird, So I continue to pray that each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. keep your pants on, Sally. You know, it might get rough in the next year, but we just need to keep our wits about us and stop feeling like we're doomed. Folks, years ago and before us, world wars, food restrictions, food lines back in the 30s and the 40s, back when our grannies was living, and we don't have that. Keep the faith. Until next time, I love you, and please be safe.